First off, thank you all for coming to this new International Student Orientation. For those of you who are attending live, we thank you for joining. For those of you who are watching the YouTube version of this afterwards, thank you for taking the time to watch this. It is a beautiful but snowy day here in Morgantown, so we're very excited about that, but hope that it hasn't caused anyone any issues with roads or anything like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a presentation from our International Students and Scholar Services team, and then we'll also have time for some questions at the end. So if anyone has any questions throughout the presentation, we just ask that you put them in the chat box. We'll try and answer them as we go, but anything that's going to be better answered live, we'll save and do that afterwards. We'll also read those out at the end for those who are viewing on YouTube afterwards. You can see my cat likes to join. So anyways, let me go ahead and get started. My name is Hank Oliver, and I'm the Director for Global Advancement here at WVU. I want to thank you all for coming. We're excited to have you all. We're excited for the start of this new spring semester. So I do want to cover some of the COVID guidelines that we do have at the university right now. One of the big things that we want to touch on is that we understand that with the Omicron situation, things are constantly changing and evolving. So what we ask is that you do your due diligence and keep up with all the updates and everything going on by checking out returntocampus.wvu.edu. Now, this site is really great. What it has is it lists all of the important updates that are going on in terms of COVID. The university will be giving out masks and a COVID self-testing kit next week. You can get that with your student ID card. So we do ask that everyone be sure and go and pick those up. These are going to be N95 masks, so these are very secured, safe masks. What the research has shown is that the traditional cloth mask is not nearly as effective against Omicron. So what we really recommend is double masking. So you use your N95 and then put an additional mask over that. And that seems to be much more effective. We also understand that as international students, it's a requirement of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention that all of you were vaccinated in order to enter the country. So we're grateful for that. Do take advantage of getting your booster shot once you're eligible here in the United States. Again, they're completely free. They're available at most grocery stores. You can get it at the WVU Rec Center on certain days of the week. You can get it at Walmart. You know, the vaccine is readily available. And again, you can check out vaccine locations by visiting returntocampus.wvu.edu. So we hope you'll take advantage of that. So again, please check out some of the updates for the vaccination guidelines, some of the masking guidelines. Masks will be required in classrooms up until at least through February, parts of February. So again, those things will change and the university will communicate and message that out as it happens. So with that, yes. So you can check in the chat box. The website is there for anyone who needs that. So without much further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Andy Patrick, who's the Associate Director for International Students and Scholar Services. And he's going to give you a presentation about a lot of the policies and guidelines that you'll face and that you'll have as an international student. So Andy, take it away.
Thank you, Hank. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to WVU. As Hank said, we have a nice snowy day here in Morgantown. For those of you coming from warmer climates, hopefully you're enjoying the snow. Those of you that are from colder climates, sorry, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer, but spring, summer in Morgantown is beautiful, and it's just around the corner. But we're excited to have you here to start the semester. My name is Andrew Patrick. You guys can call me Andy. I'm the Associate Director for International Student Services in our Office of Global Affairs. And I'm recognizing a lot of names that are in the Zoom call now. So our office handles issuance of paperwork, helping you maintain your status if you're an F1J1 student, and a host of other things. And we are very excited that you have made it to the United States, that you're studying at WVU, and I'm excited to tell you a little bit more about our services. Give me just a moment. I'm going to share my screen and pull up my presentation, and we'll get started. And Hank, can you see the screen? Is everything looking good?
Yep, it's good.
Awesome. All right. As we say at WVU, let's go. So let's start. Introduction to International Students and Scholar Services. So a couple things I want to just touch upon to start off is that being an international student is a lot of new and exciting possibilities as well. So we're going to start with a lot of the exciting things: new friends, new foods, Even though Morgantown's small, there are great pockets of Morgantown where you find new foods, new experiences, activities, especially as the weather turns warm. You know, we are known as the slogan in our state sign says, we're wild and wonderful. Venture out into West Virginia to the national parks in the southern part of the state. We have smaller parks around Morgantown, but it is really, truly a beautiful area. And as they say, and as we say, it's almost heaven. But I'm excited for everyone to see a little bit more of the state that I love so much as well. You're going to experience new perspectives. You're going to develop new memories. You know, take it all in and make the most of your time here. And most importantly, you're going to get a great education. West Virginia University, even though we're a small state, we're what we say a diamond in the rough. A lot of people that don't know a lot about us come here and they really see the potential and wonderful education that we have to offer. We have a small town kind of feel, but also a big town feel if you can venture out into Pittsburgh or DC in the surrounding area. We have a little bit of it all. And I'm excited for you all to experience that as well. But also on the other side of it, we also have to realize that you are an international student, and sometimes that can be tough, especially in the United States, where immigration laws can be very strict and very confusing. I know oftentimes students will reach out and not understand the complex laws, and sometimes we have to do a little bit of digging and research too into the laws to understand them. But that's why we're here, is to help you. You're going to wonder, what document is that? What are you referring to? If we're not clear, certainly ask questions and reach out. You're going to ask questions about, where do I go for certain services, such as Social Security letter or the DMV? We can help out with that as well. But I post this picture of the immigration roadmap to a green card for you guys to see and put in perspective that immigration law within the US can be complex, but it can be made a little bit easier by our help. And that's why we're here. So please reach out, please ask us questions if you do have any concerns during your time here about all the different laws and rules and regulations you have to follow. So your first task as an international student, and one of the first regulations that you have to follow, is Sevis Check-In. Sevis Check-In lets SEVP, who runs the Civis records and your own Civis record, know that you've arrived in the US and that you provide for us information in order for us to update your Civis record to let the government know that you have arrived. This activates your status within the US, and it's important for each one of you to complete it, especially within the first 30 days. We say as soon as possible, please. But if you don't complete it within 30 days, you'll probably get an email reminder from our primary designated school official who will let you know that you need to complete as soon as possible. But if you can go to our website, everything's done online. I would have your immigration documents with you, things like passport, visa, your I-20. You can take pictures of those and upload those so we can have them for our records. But it's basic questions and information. Shouldn't take you more than 10 minutes to complete Sevis Check-In, but please do so right away. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a crash course on some of the documents and some of the things that we will refer to throughout your time here whenever you have any questions. First is your passport. You all should have those. It's important within the US to make sure your passport is up to date at all times. If you notice that your passport is going to be expiring and you're going to be maintaining your time within the US longer than what the expiration date is, I would start getting it renewed at your embassy. Reach out and try to get that renewed. The regulations state that you must have a valid passport on you at all times when you're within the US. So if you have any questions about that, we're happy to help, but make sure that your passport is valid at all times. You should carry your I-901 Civis fee receipt, especially when you are coming in and out of the United States. It looks like this. It's the fee that you have to pay to the government in order to make sure that your Civis record is maintained. Your visa, this is also known as a visa foil. It's within your passport, and it lets you know it allows you to enter the US. We always say that your I-20, which I'll talk about, or DS 2019, is the key to get into the US. and lets you know how long that you can stay here. The visa is going to let you know for sure how long that visa is active until you have to renew. Now, you can stay in the US on an expired visa, but the moment that you exit the US on an expired visa, you have to maintain and get that renewed at an embassy abroad. It cannot be renewed within the US. So if you have no need to renew it and it's expired, don't panic. You can stay in the US, but if you are traveling and you notice that it's expired, we can consult with you about how to get that renewed. The I-94 is your record of entry within the US. It can be found by going to the DHS website, and we have the CBP DHS website there for you to find it. It can be printed out as a PDF. It should have your class of admission, either F1 or J1, and also the admit until date, which should be a duration of status, DS. Your I-20 or DS 2019, as I mentioned, looks something like this. It tells you how long you can stay in the US. You should pay attention to the program end date. That's very important. If you are approaching your program end date within 6 months and you think you need more time, certainly reach out to us. If your DS 2019 or I-20 expires and then you reach out to us, there may be little we can do to extend your stay here within the US. So it's really, really important to pay attention to the program end date on those documents. And so a little bit about where you can reach out for help. So this is Puritan House, a picture down there. You probably have seen it on campus if you've been downtown. It's one of the older buildings on campus, and it used to be the president's house. We look at it as a little home for us. When you walk in, it looks like an old home, but it is certainly very special to us as a place where we can provide assistance for you. We do have front staff available to help with general questions, document pickup, and info about our services. We are not a one-stop shop, kind of like the Mountaineer Hub that I'll explain. Our advisors are working remotely on most days, and most of the work can't really be done urgently. And the reason being is it takes some time to research and make sure everything's okay with your record. Sometimes we can provide services right away if it's something, a quick question. However, oftentimes we have to go into government systems, go into records, review information, make sure everything's up to date. And it does take some time, but we're happy to direct those services if you have any questions. And the first step is reaching out to someone within our office. They'll let you know what steps to take, who to contact, or contact those individuals for you so we can get the process started. Appointment and email is needed for any additional advising. So if there are complex questions or things that we can't resolve, usually by an email back and forth, or if there needs to be a conversation that needs to be had about a complex issue, you can set up an appointment with one of our advisors, and on our website is the best place to find the links for those appointments. Or you can send us an email and request an appointment, and we'll certainly have someone reach out to you. So we are working partly remotely, so Zoom, email, phone call to the office is the best way to get a hold of us, and we'll certainly reach out to you. And please be patient, as it does take some time. That we do help hundreds of students, and we have hundreds of emails throughout the week. It may take somewhere between 1 to 2 business days sometimes to get back, but we do monitor our email and phone calls for urgent issues, and we'll certainly respond. So as I mentioned, the best way to receive advice from a DSO or ARO, those are the individuals that are responsible for maintaining and reviewing your immigration record, is to reach out by email. Now, when I say maintaining and reviewing your records, we go through all the time and just make sure that the records are constantly updated. You have to take an active part in that process as well. So you have to communicate with us any concerns or anything that may that you have questions about. We do have our student services email there. That is for F1 and J1 students for maintaining their status. We have scholar services for scholars that are here. These are your researchers and professors. Sponsored students, Cindy and Tina are our sponsored student director and assistant director. If you're a sponsored student, you may have had some interaction with them. They're wonderful people and certainly can help you out with anything about financial guarantees or about your sponsor. And then we have our overarching global affairs email. This is our administration, and you're welcome to email them as well, and they can filter where the question should go. And as I mentioned, you may call our office for general advice, but phone advising is limited to that general advice. The reason being is we have one phone call monitored by a student worker or by another employee. It's not like other office where we have a phone call center and where someone could sit on the phone and advise with you. Within the world of international education and immigration, we want to make sure that we're exact, precise with making sure that we're giving you the information that you need to maintain your record. It can take some time, and doing so on the phone while others are waiting or other phone calls are coming in create conditions where a mistake may occur. So we try to avoid phone advising. The best thing to do is call about your issue, and you'll be directed about who to contact and how to speak to them about your issue. And usually it takes our advisors some time to pull up your record, take a quick look at it, and then someone will respond to you eventually through an email or a phone call back as needed. So please note that when you call, we do not have on the spot immigration advising. It's just for general advice. And the best way that we reach out to you is through your mixed email. Please check it daily, not only for messages from us, but messages from across campus. If we do reach out to you, we don't send random emails. It's important that you read that email, you understand the information in it, and you ask questions of us about that email. So if you do receive something from any of our email addresses, please be sure to open it quickly. It may be time sensitive, and it may be something that you need to take action on. And certainly respond and reach out if you're unsure about what it means. We do have a partnership with you, and you must do your part as well. And our part is to give you information. What you're responsible for is communicating with us any of those concerns that you have with the information that we give you, asking questions about that information, taking active part in understanding how to maintain your visa status in the US. That is very important. You can't just arrive and assume that someone will tell you exactly what you need to do. You also have to make requests of us in a timely manner. As mentioned, we have hundreds of requests that we deal with on a week-to-week basis, and it can take us a while to get through the queue in order to answer them. So making them in a timely manner, usually within 3 weeks or 15 business days, is really important. That's the minimum amount of time that we need. We can't guarantee turnaround times, but we do strive to process things within 15 business days. And the reason being that we can't have quick turnaround times is because of the research that's required, the steps that are required by the government in these processes, and also the number of students that we help on a day-to-day basis. Oftentimes we have students ask, well, it'll only take a few minutes. Can you help me out now? But when you're asking that, every student before you, you're asking to cut the line and push them aside. And as much as we want to try to help in those situations, please understand that you may just have to be patient, and we will certainly get to your response. And we do assess everything for urgency. So please let us know of any concerns. Oftentimes when something does go wrong, a student saying, well, I didn't know, or no one told me, it doesn't go a long way in the world of immigration law, especially when it comes to maintaining your visa status, which I just want to mention again, it's important for you to understand the rules and regulations for maintaining your visa status within the US. We'll cover most of the major ones here today, but there are a lot of great websites and the back of your DS 2019 or I-20 that will tell you the basics of what you need to know about maintaining your status. So what do you need to know? Let me cover that today to just put out on the table some of the basic things that you should always keep in mind. If you need to know one thing and to remember in order to maintain your status, remember this question: why you came to the United States. And the answer is to earn a degree in the time that you're given and to study full-time. Anything that prevents you from doing that, studying full-time, taking in-person courses, completing your degree in the time that you're given, anything at all that prevents those is your main reason to come to the United States, is to do those things. So anything that prevents you from doing those, you need to come out and reach out to us and communicate to us those concerns, and we can certainly help you out. So you need to make sure that you're here to study full-time, and if anything prevents that, please reach out. Full-time and in-person studies are good. Not full-time, not in-person entirely is not good. Now, there are certain exceptions because of COVID that are extended through the spring semester. The government has allowed for certain online courses. However, if you're an initial student, you need to be in at least one in-person course. Regulations may change after this semester. So we're encouraging all students to take as many in-person courses as possible, just in case regulations change. So please make sure that you're taking in-person classes and that you're a full-time. Anything that's preventing you from doing that, please reach out to us right away so we can discuss with you any possibilities. Another great resource for you to understand your status is our website. If you go to isss.wvu.edu, and I have an arrow there pointing to the students tab up at the top, there are sections entirely dedicated to F1 and J1 students. It takes about 5 minutes, 10 minutes at the most to kind of read through and understand some of the basics of maintaining your status. I always encourage every student to read through these as soon as you arrive to the US so you understand them. You can also make requests from us. So if there's something that you need, you can go to our request page. It's in alphabetical order. You can scroll through, click on it, and we'll have step-by-step directions on how to make a request for us. And I'll talk a little bit more about the types of requests that we'll have in a moment. So you can learn about your visa type here. You can make requests, and you can also request appointments virtually. On our website, if you scroll down, there are appointment times. You just click on that appointment time. It'll take you directly to a way to request an appointment. Keep in mind that you're requesting an appointment, not making an appointment. There's a difference. Oftentimes, students will want to make an appointment for something that can be handled by just a general question, by a one sentence response. Our advisors monitor these requests for appointments. And so it's important when you request one to monitor email. They may come back and say, hey, it's okay. You actually don't need an appointment for that. Here's your answer. Sometimes students will not check their email after requesting an appointment and show up at our office. We don't have in-person appointments at this time. So it's important that you check your email, make sure that you know that an advisor will reach out to you if you've requested an appointment to let you know, yes, this is a complex issue. Let's meet at this time. I will call you. Or they will say, here's an email back to you. Appointment is not necessary. We've resolved your issue, or this is how to solve your issue. So please monitor your mixed email after requesting an appointment from an advisor, and they'll direct you on the next steps. Some of our other services, and this is the inside of Puritan House. When you walk in, it looks like a little parlor, but like I said, it's our little home. So when you walk in, there'll be someone at the main desk to assist you. Some of our services include social security letters. That's a mouthful for me sometimes. If you need a social security letter, you can go to our website. Under that student tab, there's also a tab for student employment. We have step-by-step directions on how to request a social security letter. You need to make sure that you follow the steps for payroll processing if you want to work on campus within the US. A lot of you may have GA or TA positions, and you'll need to be processed for payroll. It is a cumbersome process. It involves multiple offices, including payroll, tax services, our office, the Social Security Administration office. So it's important that you follow the steps and read all the steps and not skip any. If you do go out of order, it could cause delays in your payroll processing. And we've worked tirelessly to make sure that we put all the directions on the website for this. If you feel like your employment will be delayed because of delays in processing paperwork, it's important to reach out to your employer to let them know. But we cannot expedite appointments at another office, such as the Social Security Administration or tax services. Please be sure that you follow the steps, and that is the best way to get processed as quickly as possible. Good standing letters, these are requested to go to the DMV. They're good for 20 days. So if you want to get a driver's license, you can request a good standing letter from us. This letter basically states that you've checked in with us, you're in good standing, you're a full-time student, and it'll be needed at appointments. These good standing letters can actually issue electronically, so there's no need to come to the office to pick them up. You'll receive an email on how to access that. Travel signatures, if you're going to depart the US, for F1 students and J1 students, we ask that you check in with us every 6 months. Now, signatures are valid for up to a year, unless you're on OPT, and that's something different that we can talk about. However, it's always good practice to check in with us every 6 months. What we do is look at your record, make sure everything's in order before your travel, and we'll issue a signature on your I-20 or DS 2019. Now, I-20s can be issued electronically at this time. DS 2019s need to be signed by an ink signature. So if you have a DS 2019, an advisor may reach out and ask you to come back to the office in order to meet them in person to get that ink signature. For I-20s, it can be an electronic signature. You just make the travel signature request and fill out the information, and then we'll alert you on how to reprint your I-20 with an updated travel signature. So before you travel, reach out to us. And it's a good practice every 6 months before travel, reach out to us. You can replace an I-20. So if it's lost, stolen, something happens to it, we can provide you a replacement. We just need a reason for it. You can place that request on our website. You can update your address or other info with us. When you do Sevis Check-In, it's going to ask you for an updated physical address. It's required in the US by regulation that you have an updated address at all times, and you're required to update us within 10 days of changing an address. So if you have any type of address update, you move from one apartment to another, please let us know. It is a physical US address, so if you're staying somewhere temporarily, that's okay. Just update us again, but it is a regulation that the government know what your US physical address is. So please update us as soon as possible. A reduced course load. This is something that students may believe that is possible in all circumstances, but it's actually very difficult to have a reduced course load approved. There are only a few reasons why you can go down to a reduced course load of under full time. Those reasons include initial academic difficulty within the US. We have to have documentation of that from an advisor. You can also have a medical reason for wanting a reduced course load, but we need a letter from a medical doctor, doctor of osteopathy, or a licensed psychiatrist. Oftentimes, students will have to have already established seeing these types of doctors in order to have a medical reduced course load. And the easiest way to have them approved is prior to a semester starting. It's very difficult mid-semester to make this happen. Students will want to reduce a course load because they're having trouble in classes or maybe feeling stress of classes and want to drop down. That's not really what a reduced course load is for. They're for extenuating circumstances where a medical reason makes it necessary, or you come to the US and are having initial difficulties, academic difficulties in your classes and getting adjusted. They're not for reasons just because you are failing a course or you're not doing well and you want to drop down a little bit to give yourself more time to recover in other courses. Generally speaking, the US government requires you to study full time. However, if you feel that you need a reduced course load and want to discuss this possibility, our advisors can counsel you through it and help you. Please email us and let us know. As mentioned before, it's really important that you also pay attention to your end date on your DS 2019 or your I-20. A program extension may be needed and is possible. We just need a compelling academic reason from an academic department or an advisor as to why you need more time in your degree. We also need you to attest that you have the financials to cover the time that you need your extension. So if your program end date is approaching, usually you want to do this the semester that you are getting ready to graduate, okay? So if you're like, I don't think I'm going to be able to graduate at the end of this semester, that's a good time to put in an extension request. Your advisor will sign off on it, let us know that you need more time. Also, if you think you may need more time, it's really important to put this request in with us prior to your I-20 or DS 2019 expiring. As I mentioned before, after it expires, there's not much we can do. The regulations are pretty strict, and we don't want to have you depart the US and have to request a new I-20 or DS 2019 and go through the process again. So please reach out to us if your program end date is approaching and you do not have plans to graduate. We can talk to you about an extension. Just a couple of reminders, you are responsible for maintaining your visa status and knowing the rules and regulations. Read the back of your I-20, DS 2019, go to our website and read how to maintain status there. please take an active role in maintaining your status and communicating your needs to us. And remember, we need at least 15 business days to process most requests. And depending on how busy we are, we do have quick turnaround times for certain things, but please allow us at least 15 business days to process a request. So get those requests in early to us. So a couple other things our office can do for you. I also serve as your international student advocate. What this means is, the way I like to explain it is that I'm kind of like a compass for you. So if you're not sure where to go on campus or what to do, you can contact me and I can point you in the right direction or provide help to you. We have a lot of different offices on campus that we work with that I'll talk about. Some are listed here, such as the care team for special requests, Mountaineer Hub for student accounts, Office of Student Conduct. We work with them in cases of academic integrity issues, Career Center for Mental Health and Wellness, and we also work with campus and community engagement for programs. I do want to revisit the Office of Student Conduct bullet point. Please note that within the US, we approach academic integrity very strictly, especially at this university. Generally speaking, collaborating with your peers in order to complete assignments, if it's not explicitly stated by a professor that you can do so, is generally discouraged. Copying information from websites in order to assist you without citing them is also discouraged. If you've made a mistake and you are accused of any plagiarism or academic integrity issues, it's important to be honest about your mistake to the Office of Academic Integrity, and they certainly will educate you about the process. But if you receive any indication from our Office of Academic Integrity, you're welcome to reach out to me and ask any questions, and I'll certainly help. And there are instances where students have made mistakes, and there are instances where students generally tried to skirt around the rules, and there are consequences for it. Please be advised that it is taken seriously within the US, and I certainly discourage you from making sure that you're talking with your professors. I discourage you from doing anything that would put you in a situation where your academic integrity is being questioned. So please reach out to me if you have questions. Their office as well also has resources available if you want to learn more about that. And certainly ask your professors and read their syllabus so you know their expectations for you about how to complete your own coursework. So a couple of the personal services I mentioned, Office of Campus and Community Life. They are there to help with issues, special request things. They have a care team, things such as, if you feel that you're not connecting with others at the university or having trouble in your courses, or if there's an extenuating circumstance, they have a care team that coordinate some support and help for you. There's also the Office of Off-Campus Housing, that if you have any issues with leases or finding off-campus apartment, the Campus Life can help as well. Student Legal Services is also located within the Office of Campus and Community Life. And their offices are also right next door to our Puritan House in Emore Hall, and a picture of their building is right there. I also want to talk about student health, which is on our Evansdale campus. You all should have student insurance that if you're sick, not feeling well, please go to our student health for advice or for consultation. There's also the rack here. The rack has perishable and non-perishable food items, as well as school supplies. So if you're a little tight on cash and you're trying to make ends meet, there are resources on campus for school supplies and for basic food items. Well WVU is also a great website that also promotes health and well-being, and they have advice and information about how to relieve stress, activities going on campus. Being a student is busy and it can be stressful. Please make sure you're taking time for yourself and also for your mental health. And well.wvu.edu will certainly have some ideas and tips for you. And it's worth just looking at for a few minutes. And you may be able to join something, an activity or group that will help you along during your time here. Student financial services are located at the Mountaineer Hub on the Evansdale campus. They can help with scholarships, waiver information, billing, student accounts. I know you're probably receiving information about paying your bill. They can answer any of those questions, help you set up payment plans. They also, the Office of the Registrar is located in the Mountaineer Hub. You can order transcripts there. You can ask them questions about dropping classes, but I do want to mention that if you're going to add or drop any classes, please make sure you know that you still have to maintain full-time enrollment. So for instance, if you are in 12 credit hours full-time and you know you need to be in full-time, don't drop down to 9 and then plan to add later. That class may not be available. Add that class first to get you above 12 credits. So let's say 3 credits at 15 credits, then drop and get back down to 12. Always maintain full-time enrollment. And this goes for grad students too. 9 credit hours, make sure that have been able to add the credit hours first before you drop the other ones. Sometimes students get into some trouble where they drop down below full-time and then realize they can't get into a certain class. So always add the class and make sure you can add it before you can drop down, okay? The registrar can help you out with any of those questions about your transcripts, but really you should check with us if you're thinking about adding or dropping any courses. Your academic advisor may say, oh yeah, just drop that course. Don't do that as an international student. Check with us first if you're able to do that, and we can advise you to make sure that you're at full time. We also have a lot of great academic resources across campus. Tutoring is free. It can be held virtually or in person by appointment. Most of the major subjects are covered. There is a great resource at the Eberly Writing Studio on the ground floor. This is the building, actually, if you're looking at our building to the left of us, it's the English department. On the ground floor, they have help with reading papers, looking through to make sure that you have cited information correctly, that you're not plagiarizing. They hold workshops. I highly recommend reaching out to Eberly Writing Studio if you have writing that needs to be reviewed, or if you have questions. This helps avoid a lot of those plagiarism and academic integrity issues as well. They're a great resource for you. And again, Academic Integrity Office, if you go to their website or just Google academic integrity, they also have classes and workshops and quick little things that you can view to learn more about academic integrity and make sure that you are citing things correctly and not plagiarizing. Other WVU services, I mentioned the Career Center for Health and Wellness. They offer individual counseling services or group counseling. This is a great resource on campus. A lot of students don't realize that it's utilized by all different types of people. They have individuals that will counsel you if you're feeling stress or anxiety or just need somebody to talk to. They have a great professional trained staff available to set up an appointment or for walk-in advising. They also help with enhancing academic skills and host workshops for learning skills, academic coaching, stress management. So it's not just individual counseling, but if you do need somebody to talk to, a professional on campus, I highly recommend the Career Center. They're one of the most wonderful resources on campus and will certainly help you through any issues or challenges that you may be facing outside of your coursework. Professional services on campus, you have academic advising within your department, but we also have career services. So they can help you with tips on interviews, building your resume. After you complete your study here at WVU as an international student, you have the opportunity to apply for work authorization called Optional Practical Training, OPT, or you may be required to do an internship and you need curricular practical training. Career services can offer you tips and tricks on how to present yourself for an interview or build your resume, but our office is the one that gives you work authorization for that. So please reach out to us if you're finishing your degree and you have questions about OPT or CPT. We do offer workshops on that, but the career services end handles more of the social aspect of it. We handle more of the work authorization aspect of it. So please make sure that you're consulting with us about any plans after graduation, and career services will certainly prepare you professionally. We will prepare you immigration wise to make sure you have the work authorizations. The Office of Student Engagement has lists of clubs and different groups that you can join. Please try to venture out and join groups or clubs and maybe try something different that you otherwise wouldn't normally do. We certainly have groups that represent certain countries on campus or certain cultural groups on campus. However, it's always good to explore and try something different, but this is also a great way to connect with those with similar interests in similar parts of the world as well. So check out studentengagement.wvu.edu to see all they have to offer. And the one last tip that I have for you guys, your portal and your mixed email is so important. Make sure you stay logged into that, stay informed, and you give timely responses to those across campus. Email is so important, and it's a way that most professionals, faculty, and staff communicate with students across campus. So please check that daily for announcements and email. One last resource is our safety website. Our WVU alert system, I would encourage you to go there and sign up. This is in case there's an emergency on campus. We are a very safe campus. We're noted for our safety here in Morgantown. And one of the reasons why is we alert our students when things do happen, and we want to make sure that they're safe. You can sign up for alerts to go directly to your email or to a text to your phone, so you know what's actively happening on campus. Maybe you need to stay away from an area, or there's a snow day or emergency like this. Sign up for WVU alerts so you're aware of any emergencies on campus. Our university police department is here to help you. They're a wonderful resource, and they really care deeply about our students. Do not be afraid to reach out to them if you're having any issues where you need a police officer on campus. The UPD is wonderful, and they'll certainly help you out. Our Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion also hosts an inclusive campus website for issues relating to DEI, so that's worth exploring as well. I also want to make you guys aware for your safety that IT has information about phishing, scams, and emails. I want to make sure that you're aware that within the US, phishing is the attempt to gather data and information from you through an email or a phone call that may seem legit, but it's actually to trick you into giving some information. It's important that you are aware what this is and not fall for these certain types of scams that are going on. Just remember that individuals that are posing as government agencies, law enforcement, these actual agencies will never call to warn you of a problem, never demand money to fix an issue. We've had instances where international students received emails or phone calls from numbers appearing to be USCIS, the police department, another government agency. They'll never call and warn you of a problem. They will usually say, here's a number that you can call, reach out with a either secure password through an email or a phone call, but that's rare. You won't just be cold called and say there's a problem, and the person, as soon as they start demanding money to fix it, that's when you know it's a scam. I would also avoid giving personal information. That's how they learn a little bit about you. So immediately, what I would advise you to do if you're unsure, even if they threaten you that you can't hang up the phone or something bad will happen, we're here to help. Immediately call us or contact us, and we will let you know what we think about this, if it's a scam or if it's legit. If it's legit and you made a mistake, it's okay. Like, it happens, okay? But it's rare that a government agency will reach out to you. Very, very rare. So please be aware of those scams and those who are attempting to get information from you or money from you. It happens to those within the US. It now happens with text messages, emails, phone calls. You have to learn to ignore it. Please don't answer those unknown numbers, answer those unknown texts. And if you get an email and it appears to be junk and phishing and a scam, you can contact IT and ask, and they can give you some information about that as well. And then, as Hank mentioned, we do have our Return to Campus website for all things COVID-19 related. It's really important to stay up to date on our policies and procedures regarding staying safe on campus, and we have our website there, so please check that out. So, kind of to sum up, and thank you for listening to me. I know this was a long presentation, but I do want to let you know we love our students. We are here to help. We work hard every day to make sure that you can do well at WVU. Our office can be very busy at times. If you're not getting responses, we really do our best to try to help. And sometimes we do have to tell students no based on immigration regulations, that you can't do that, or we just can't help you. Please make sure you don't confuse can't and won't. If we can help you, we will help you. But sometimes it's really out of our purview to do that if it's against the government regulation or something happened where regulations weren't followed. But as I mentioned earlier, please just call us, communicate with us, reach out if you do have questions, and we will talk you through it. We'll offer you that advising when something comes between you and your full-time studies. If you're thinking about employment on campus, you can work up to 20 hours a week on campus. We can help you with that. If you're thinking about employment after you graduate, we can counsel you on that as well. If you have sponsors, we'll help be a liaison as well and assist you. Programming, activities, we coordinate with other offices. And if you forget the main reason that you're here and something happens, you know that you can always reach out to us, and we will start talking you through the steps either to fix it or what you need to do here on out. Just remember, if we can help, we certainly will. I do want to welcome you all to what we call home in West Virginia, or home among the hills. It's really great to have you all here, and I wish you the best of luck for the semester. And I'm going to turn it back over to Hank for the next part of our orientation.
Thanks, Andy. Thank you so much. That was really great. So looking through the questions, we didn't have a lot of questions today. So one of the big questions that we did get was, if you are unvaccinated, is there a place that you can get vaccinated? And so in the chat box, I went ahead and linked the university's vaccination resource page. So if you click in there and check that out, the university does host its own vaccination clinics, and you can get those on Wednesdays, and those offer both the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccine. Appointments are required for those, but the appointment link is right there on the website. We also have our student health facility that does offer walk-in vaccine appointments, and I believe that those are the Pfizer vaccine only. Any vaccine is a good vaccine, so we really recommend you do that. The other big thing is, if you are an international student, at this point, again, the Centers for Disease Control requires that you be fully vaccinated in order to enter the US. So if you intend to leave and come back, you need to make sure you're vaccinated. While the university does not have a vaccine mandate, because nearly 94% of our community is vaccinated, we do need you as international students to make sure that you're vaccinated, so that you're meeting all the requirements that you have to enter and exit the country freely. So please make sure to do that. It is, again, free and readily available. Again, if anyone has any other questions, feel free to put those in the chat box. And we'll hang out for a couple more minutes, but if not, we'll wrap this up. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to type them into the chat box, or reference one of the email accounts that Andy listed, which is isss-students@mail.wvu.edu, or globalaffairs@mail.wvu.edu, sponsored students@mail.wvu.edu, and we'll be sure and get those questions answered for you. That's a great point, Amber. The university does require a booster shot to be considered fully vaccinated. If your vaccination is if your second dose is within 5 months for the Pfizer, or 6 months for Moderna, I believe. I think if I recall, it varies. But again, by referencing that return to campus site, you can see what it takes to be considered fully vaccinated. And again, that those requirements at this point mirror the Centers for Disease Control, but those requirements from the CDC can change, and they can change quickly and without notice. So it's just important to make sure that you're fully maintained and up to date on your vaccination status. The other piece of that is if you go to the Return to Campus website, there will also be a place there for you to register your vaccine and verify it. So that's really important. And that's something that we would like everyone to do, is to verify your vaccine. And the reason we do that is because then we can count you towards our university's our community vaccination rate, which is really important for us, because that's what allows us to be able to continue having activities on campus, and for us to continue to maintain a safe environment, is for us to know what that record is, and for us to know what our percentages stand at. So at this point, we don't have any additional questions. So I want to take a moment, and I want to thank you all for tuning in. And for those of you who are watching via YouTube after the fact, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I want to also give a special thanks to all of our teams in Global Affairs who are here today, who helped put this all together. Thank you to Andy, especially. That was a really great, thorough presentation. Again, we did just get a question. When are you required to conduct the Sevis Check-In? The answer to that is as soon as possible. You have 30 days to do it, but there's no reason not to do it. If you're in the country, go ahead and get it done. And you can do that by visiting internationalservices.wvu.edu. You can go to our requests page on isss.wvu.edu, and you'll find the Sevis Check-In there. So please get that done ASAP once you're in the country. There's no reason to delay for it. You have 30 days to do it, but that is a grace period. We really recommend you get that done as quickly as possible. All right. So if that's it, I want to go ahead again. Thank you all for taking the time to do this. Have a great semester. We're looking forward to it. Try and enjoy the beautiful snow out there today. It's quite lovely. You'll notice everything gets quiet when it snows. The snow absorbs all the sound. Everything gets really bright because of all the reflection. So take some time, enjoy it, and everyone have a great semester.